Hey, hello, good morning. It's Kathryn, the Big Vision Coach, and welcome to the Daily One Command. And this is part two of what we're talking about this week, and that is setting your intention for success or particular outcome for the month. Yesterday, I shared the idea about how do we create that alignment? Like, how do we actually set ourselves up for success? What is intention? How can we um, create a clear intention? How can we stay on track with it? And I shared with you the worksheet or practice sheet that is right in the comments of the description of wherever you're viewing this. And it looks a lot like, let me add this. It's the Commanding Abundance Daily Practice. This is borrowed from my Commanding Abundance course, but this is really a practical tool for setting your intention for the month. Like, hey, what is the goal that I want to achieve? And what does that look like? And we start out kind of aspirational. We talked about that. And we talked about, hey, where we are now versus where we want to be and what we perceive as obstacles. And we did some commands around that. We're going to go a little bit deeper. But before we do, I want to be sure and mention that if you are watching by StreamYard, or excuse me, watching by Facebook or Instagram, to please be sure and like the StreamYard app so that I can see your questions and comments because they're really important to me. And of course, liking and sharing these videos is always appreciated. So let's get into it. Okay. Um, so let's start with this. We always have a lens that we look through our teaching with, and this is to help us form an attitude and clear parameters. And so I love this quote from Alanya. If you want to be at peace, you have to be clear about your intention and moment by moment in alignment with your intention. And I think that one of the important things is we always try. Everybody wants to be clear. A lot of times we know what we don't want. We have an idea of what the opposite might look like, but we don't really have a clear intention. We haven't really given ourselves the time and space to get clarity around that. And it's hard. It's hard to get clarity on what you actually want when you're always reacting to the circumstances that you're in. When it feels like just about the time you can almost start thinking about it or you start getting on track with, yeah, this is what I want. I'm going to start taking action. You're doing research, and next thing you know, you're kind of led down some rabbit holes. It's easy because that's at a particular level of consciousness. Okay. And you're trying to get away from, right? You're moving away from value rather than moving towards. And when you're in that moving away from, that's fear based. Okay. And a lot of times we are cutting off really important parts of ourself, really important ways that we are communicating with ourselves, our own intuition, our own true deeper needs, some unresolved fears. There's some things that we've really got to be able to address. And so how can we get to that clarity and meet that? Well, when we're working with the one command process, the 6 steps of the one command, we're taking you out of your ordinary reality, which is a reactive um, state of being. And it's a very limited view of potential. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, we teach in Commanding Wealth and in brain science, it says this that in our ordinary, you know, way of thinking, we cannot possibly track and pay attention to everything that's around us at any given moment, right? I mean, it would be too overwhelming. Our subconscious mind is doing that. Our higher intelligence can do that. It can see everything, it knows everything, it can move itself into different positions. It can, like a sci fi movie, suddenly, it's like, hey, there's not a waitress over there. You are the waitress serving, right? And so we can see that represented in science. In our subconscious mind, we have a greater capacity. We are tracking millions of bits of information. We're checking vibrations and the weather, and it's not just what's around us immediately, it's not even what might affect us in our own social system. We're tracking globally. Okay, we're tracking, we're feeling those little warps and whoops and beeps out from outer space, but that would be too overwhelming to be in that awareness, right? So, what do? We come down into our normal level of awareness, and this is why you'll often see me do something like this if you've been following for around, because in our beta way of thinking, and how we are set up is our mind is trained to one mirror our mind is trained to find what we've set on it to find, right? And it's going to find everything that reflects itself. It's if we've decided that people are mean and no one gives us a break, your mind is going to create a reality where that is true. It's going to look for those instances. It's going to become the filter that you're having all of your experiences in that, and it may or may actually be true. It could just be how you're looking at it, right? Your perception. I don't feel like I'm saying this the way I want to because I didn't want to quite go here, but I feel like it's important to tell you this. And so this is why when we think about being our ordinary reality, it's all based on our conditioning. How have we conditioned our expectations? How are we conditioned to respond to the world, right? And when we're doing this in this very narrow field of reality that we're perceiving through our beta brain, we can only be aware one of 7 to 9 things consciously at any given moment, right? I mean, that myth of multitasking, can't do it. But we might be tracking kind of like on another level, and that's why you could be focused on something and suddenly something pulls your attention over here. Well, that's your subconscious mind working for you, right? But if you really get focused in on this, and someone said, "Hey, listen," this happens at my house all the time. My daughter works from home. I work from home. We've got stuff going on, and somebody will come in and want to have a conversation about something else. It's like, I am, and we say to each other, "I'm so sorry. I am super focused on this," and that kind of, rocked my boat a little bit. I can't really shift my focus over to that right now. Give me a minute to finish this, and then I'll come to you, or we'll talk about it. Right? We have to remind each other that we're on these tracks, and because it takes so much bandwidth to move off of it. Okay, we have our conditioned mind. We have our beliefs about our conditioning. We have our beliefs about ourselves. We have our sense of what's possible. And everything that we create has to, uh, you know, align to those beliefs. And if we want to create something different than what we have now, we have to allow our beliefs to align to that greater outcome. There we go. Who have we got on here? I'm seeing some lovely comments. Good morning, Miss Becky. Oh, getting a reading. Okay, hey, Miss Becky, tonight is the reading. Did a post that 9 o'clock tonight. On this is Tuesday, July 5th. I'm doing one card tarot pools, and that'll be 9 o'clock tonight Central Time on Facebook. And so I've got it posted on my regular profile in the Facebook group and on my TOC Money Mindset Mastery. I'm not able to do it on YouTube. I want to keep this into my Facebook world. So, Becky, 9 o'clock tonight, okay? All right. So, it has to, our conditioning can prevent us, all right, from actually seeing what is possible. If you have never seen um, the movie, now I wish I hadn't said it, but it's um, now we have to look it up because it's a movie about Meet the Robinsons. That's it. It's a Disney movie, and it's a movie that got missed. And it's a time travel movie. It's a fantastic story. If you haven't had a chance to see Meet the Robinsons yet, please do, because there's the villain of the story. And the villain of the story, I don't want to give away spoilers, but he's telling his story, his origin story about how he came to be the way he is. And he's walking down the hall of his school and he's telling the story about being a kid and how everyone hated him and was mean to him and no one liked him and how he was always shunned. But as they played the movie, the scene of um, that memory that he's telling, everybody's going like, "Hey, how you doing? You want to come to our house? Hey, be sure and come to the game today. How's it going? Everything okay?" Everybody's talking to him and checking in on him, but his problem is that he didn't get good sleep, and so he was so exhausted he wasn't able to process and feel it. So we need to understand too that a lot of times our physical state will keep us from really even having the ability to perceive what blessings and opportunities and support is there. Okay, so we would do a command around that. Like if we go, I don't know how to be in alignment with my intention. I only know I am in alignment with my intention now. And this is really important because we want everything to align up for us. And oh, things are lucky, right? And have you ever noticed that when your miracle shows up, it just feels like everything just lined up perfectly? There was no way you could have planned it. And it just looked like, some force from beyond organized it all. And that's how it is when you're actually in alignment. You start seeing how all things are working together for your good. When you're out of alignment, it feels like nothing's working. And it can feel like if something's not working for you, there's something wrong with you. You're bad, you're stupid, you're a failure. You start labeling yourself. And please understand that all this information that you're getting is just a matter of perception. And if you have a perception of how things are that aren't serving you, you literally have the right to change it. Okay? You have the right to change how you're looking at things. Now, everybody says, well, get a good attitude, change it. And you go, I have a good attitude. I want to have a good attitude. How can I have a good attitude when there's all this stuff going on? Um, there's a funny meme going around from Fried Green Tomatoes where the grumpy character, and she's like coming in, she's scowling all the time, she's yelling at people, and they're going, and in the meme, it's kind of like, well, you could be nicer to people, you could be pleasant, and she's like yelling, I'm pleasant all the time. I say hello to people. Well, we don't understand that if we're meeting the world from that place, the world's going to meet us that way, right? If you're noticing you're having certain feelings, and right now I'm going to kind of go into something more specific, and then we're going to do some commands. In your just day-to-day life, you might notice that you're not feeling good, you're not feeling loved, no one likes you, it's never going to work. If you're kind of starting to feel like depressed and hopeless and that type of thing, please check in with yourself and find out. Ask yourself, hey, have I eaten today? Have I showered? When was the last time I was outside? Doing some basic things for yourself, some self care. Okay. There's a little homage that says, hey, when you hate everybody, you need to eat. If you feel like everyone hates you, you need to rest. Okay. And so please be sure and just have some self care. If you're noticing you're having these feelings, first look to how you're taking care of yourself. The other is that right now there's a lot going on in the world, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of terrible things. And it would literally be incompatible with being a human being if you did not feel a sense of loss and some hopelessness, if there's not some sadness. And I'm going to tell you, I go through that too. Um, there's some things going on, last month in May, and with some things that happened in the school shooting and Uvalde and how all that happened. That really hit close to home, but also really put a big magnifying glass on everything that was happening in my state of Texas. And um, I had been feeling so up and powerful and like, yeah, there's moving forward. And I had that moment of, oh my gosh, is there a point in doing all of this? Do people really want to get this teaching? Do I really have any significance in all of this, right? Is there something more important I should be doing? And, you know, I had to really examine that, and I had to give myself some time to grieve. And what happened was, instead of giving up, when I went down into that deeper part of myself, something inside of me actually lit up. And there was a strength that people always talked about how strong I was. My mom always talked about that, but I never felt strong. But I connected into this deeper place, and it made me even more committed to be who I am and to align to my purpose and mission. And one, it's I really am an encourager in the world. I'm that person that you wind up sitting next to on a on the bus or in line at the supermarket, and we have a little conversation that strikes up, and you're going to feel better. And it's not like I'm going around like, oh, where's my people. This just happens, and there might be some practical problem solving. I may wind up just having a quiet talk, but there's just this space that I remember I set this intention of who I wanted to be in the world, of someone who's helped, hey, encourage you on your journey and kind of keep, urging you on, pointing you in that direction. The other thing is, then part of my journey has really been taking control, one, of my mind and emotions, and working on my personal healing. So I want to give people tools on how to do that. And then next, to be able to take control over really important parts of your life. There's mindset, but I really want to help people with whatever it takes for them to create a successful business so that they can have that personal freedom and autonomy, so they have more choices. And choices has always been a big piece of the things that I wanted to help people have, is to be able to have the capacity to create the choices that they need in order to be fulfilled, to get their needs met, and to live their personal mission in the world. And thank you, Donna. I really appreciate that. I love you too. Thank you. And so when I went into that, it would be so easy, like sometimes we think, oh, it'd be so easy to give up. It literally is impossible for me to give up. I want to give up, but there's something greater in me that keeps showing up. And I have the feeling that there's something greater in you that keeps showing up. And so when you get down, don't make yourself wrong. Don't criticize yourself. Be present to what you're noticing and feeling. Nourish yourself, nurture yourself as much as possible. And then sometimes you may have to say, no more excuses. Okay, that was then, this is now, let's get going. You know that that's not true, right? You've got to be able to have a loving, honest conversation with yourself, have the courage to hear people who love you, right? Seek out people who will tell you the truth in a loving way, right? And when you do that, you, whatever your greater intention is will be fulfilled. More than your greater intention, your needs will get met along the way. Your dreams and desires will be met and fulfilled. Okay, it's not, hey, I want to have a successful business, but I want to have a freedom, I want to have freedom and time and freedom to be with the people I love and go have fun. I don't want to grind all the time. Hey, I want to make a big difference in the social justice world. I want to make a big impact on what's happening in society, and I want my needs met. And I want to be able to be comfortable and make sure that I can create safety for myself and others, right? It's not me or, it's you and. It's me and. Okay? So you got this. You can do this. And so it starts with What is your intention? And then if you're noticing anything is opposing that, be present to it, and you can use the one command to uncover any counter intentions, any conflicting agreements, some hidden beliefs. You can use the one command. Like if you notice you keep hitting that same wall, and you go, I've got a block here. I don't know what the block is. Your command would be, I don't know how this block in me is revealed and cleared. I only know my path is clear now and I am fulfilled. Because you can't heal anything that you're not aware of. Okay, so sometimes that awareness process is a little uncomfortable. Sometimes it sucks. I'm going to say it sucks, okay? It sucks. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. We don't like it. We don't want to deal with it. But if you really want to get to that, you've got to actually welcome that as much as you would welcome the blessing, okay? Let's go for it. What is your intention? What is it? We could call this your chief aim. Like, what is it that you want to accomplish this month? Right? When you look back at the end of the month, you want to look back and say, yes, I did it. I'm counting my blessings. Wow. And we don't know how yet. Maybe you do want, in your business, you want to generate X amount of money. Maybe you are commanding for a particular kind of client. Maybe you are working on your physical healing. Maybe there's something in your relationships you want to get resolved. What is your intention for the month? That is the outcome. This is the decision. Then everything that we do to support that is manifesting. Okay? All right. So, what we always ask is, we know what that intention is, where you want to be, right? On this little box number 3 down here, where you want to be, that's you setting your intention. And we know where you are now. You've got to have an awareness, and this is creating that contrast. So what do you perceive to be a block or a limitation? What do you think could stop you? Or we could even say, what is a consideration? Like you go, yeah, I could see I can totally make the jewelry. I know people will want to buy it. I'm borrowing Lenora. Thank you. Okay. But there's some crucial how. Like, okay, I can make the stuff. Where am I going to find the customers? Right? Um, that want to, that will pay the price that I need to pay. And if I get there, how is that all going to get set up? How will I display it? What if it's a booth is the best place to be and I can't afford the booth or whatever, right? So what do you believe to be the block or the limitation? So in the one command, you would say, well, I don't know how all things are lining up. I don't know how I have the perfect way to sell my jewelry to my perfect clients. I only know I do now and I am fulfilled. Stay focused on the outcome, not on the block. Be aware of the block, but not focused on the block. Okay? All right. So, are you aware of what you feel like is stopping you? Good morning. Good morning, Miss. Got Becky and Lenora. Okay, thank you. And Donna, I appreciate you being here too. All right. So, we want to hold that intention. Okay? Let's go. Let's do 6 steps of the one command. Let's ground. Feel your connection to the earth's connection to you. Let's take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. And from the base of your spine, just picture, visualize, or imagine that you're like a tree and you have long roots going deep, deep, deep down into the earth. And I want you to send any tension, any sadness, any anger deep down into the earth. got any aches and pains, let it go. And now just allow that earth energy to heal and transform that energy, and allow that energy to start to come back up into your body, up through your feet, into your knees, into your hips, up your spine, into your neck and your shoulders. Just allow that earth energy to support you as you bring your attention to your heart and you're aligning to your intention. So in this case, Lenora's intention is to have a successful jewelry business. She knows what that looks like. She knows how much money that is. She knows she loves making jewelry or buying jewelry to sell. She loves the process of that delightful moment where people are trying it on and they light up when they find just the right piece. Lenora, that light up moment, that's what I want you to align to. There's a light up that happens, that that happens. That's what you're actually after, that light meeting the light. Imagine you're a cook and you're cooking for all your friends and family, and you're thinking about all the ways you want what dinner's going to look like, how you're setting the table, and then get everybody there. Everyone sits down, and then there's that first bite, and they go, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" Ah, that's what we're talking about. That that light, that feeling. That is the God. Yeah, that's God in you meeting the God in others. We're really spending some extra time here. My intuition is not letting me go yet, so I'm just going to honor this space. You're commanding for a new home, a new car, a particular outcome. And when it's the right one, and that desire, that need is fulfilled, you go, yes. There we go. And just let that light meet that light. We always say, let the love in me meet the love in you. And, let the master in me meet the master in you. And in this space, let there only be love. Between knowing and not knowing, let there only be love. There we go. Eyes closed. And just very slightly lift your chin up. And without straining, very softly roll your eyes up as if you're trying to look up through the top of your head. And I want to invite you to send your consciousness up, up, up. And it's as though you're connected to a pole of light. And this pole of light is connecting you directly to Source. Like if you've got that little light in your heart, there's that greater light that you are connected to. And this is that connection to that greater light. And so just send your consciousness up this pole of light. The higher you go, the faster you go. And soon you're in this beautiful, velvety, black void of space. And instantly you break through the darkness into the light of pure, open potential. Very softly, keeping your eyes up, I'm going to do the first command for you. I don't know how. I am aligned to my intention. I only know I am now, and I am fulfilled. And I don't know how every part of who I am, who I have been, and who I am destined to become is the living embodiment of the fulfillment of my intention. I only know I am now and I am fulfilled. And now let your eyes relax. Let that expand out to an idea even greater that serves more good in its fulfillment. Now, as we're in this expansion, what's happening is your consciousness is expanding. And you may hear or see or a thought or a question may come up meeting this, going, but how? Or what if? If you are meeting a consideration, it's not a limitation, it is a consideration, then you're going to do another command for it. So, whatever came up, I don't know how, and state what it is that you want. I only know it's so now, and I am fulfilled. Woo. Your eyes are relaxed, continue to expand, and now just feel yourself starting to come back down into your body and start receiving this greater understanding, this new awareness with gratitude. Using Lenora's example, oh, I'm just so grateful that I have the right circumstances. I'm so grateful that all of my questions have been answered. All of my concerns are resolved. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful that the way has been made. I really appreciate this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There we go. We're just going to notice what starts to unwind, unwind, unwind. Let the old ways, the old fears, the old doubts, just let it go, let it go, let it go. We allow the new ideas, this greater potential, all the answers start to arrive, rewind, and integrate. We're going to allow your awareness to be shifted into all the money, all the opportunities, all the customers, all the ways that whatever you want to attract, create, or manifest is possible. Just allow all these new ideas to begin to arrive. And as they arrive, they're going to align to who you are, your values, your, your capabilities, your own unique wants, needs, and desires. Just give yourself a moment. Think about your intention, what it is that you want, and what seems possible now. We always say do that internal check in. And when what do you know now that you didn't know before? And we always recommend that you um, make notes. That's why your journal is so good. I mean, this practice sheet is great because on the back you can make notes. Hey, if you think a workbook like this would be helpful, let me know because I've been thinking about putting together an intention course with a workbook. Give me a thumbs up if that sounds like something that would be interesting to you and useful. I would love to get your feedback and ask you some questions about that. I really want to design a course around this and really help people get clarity on their intention and address any hidden beliefs or fears, but also access their unique genius and then create a working plan. I'm the big vision coach, and I have a 6-step process for creating that, for capturing that vision and turning it into a working plan that gets big results very quickly. And so I really want to help people go from intention to fulfillment of whatever it is. And I would love to get your feedback on what what some questions or concerns or what your particular needs are, so I could design the right course. And if a workbook sounds good, let me know that too. Okay. All right. So, what do we say? The seventh step is inspired action. Be ready for that idea, that inspiration or opportunity. And, honey, you just go for it. Don't question it. Just say, be prepared to say yes. And if something's not right, if it doesn't match, have the courage to say no. Asara Lovejoy, who's the creator of the One Command, said, you cannot have what you truly want. You cannot say yes to what you truly want until you can give a clear, authentic no. And so that's really powerful for the people pleasers like me. And, I grew up with that. I was trained to do that. I got my needs met by being a pleaser, right? And it took a lot of time to train myself to give myself permission to say no. All right. And then on that, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I appreciate you so much. And we will see you tomorrow. We're going to continue talking about aligning to your intention. But if I can help you personally, please be sure and let me know. And to work with me, all you got to do is we book a free call. And you can go to bit.ly, Big Vision Coach. And we'll set up a time to talk. All right, my love. Until next time, this is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and I witness your mastery. Bye bye.